This is the next episode of Writing Out Loud, called Writing Out Loud, Building a Paper to Live In. Lecture on building the long paper. Now that your research journal is becoming substantial, I hope, and your topic has begun to clarify in your mind, I hope, and you have worked with the yellow pad method to integrate two sources into a short paper that argues one of the subtopics of your anticipated journal paper, some of you, it's time to take another look at the structure of an argument and consider how the larger paper can be assembled into one. Your two-source paper, soon to be returned to you, develops and argues one point or idea that will become part of the larger paper. Note that the larger paper will not be making the same point or arguing the same thesis as your two-source. The two-source, complete with its point, will become part of the process of arguing the larger journal paper thesis. Try not to think of nesting identical Russian dolls, because they don't go together in that way. Try instead to think of building a house. We've been talking about an argument as a process paper that goes through 7 movements. The introduction that establishes the paper's general subject, specific subject, opposing idea, lens, and thesis. A section of background information that the reader needs in order to understand the essay's discussion within a particular context. A presentation of evidence and expert opinions that support the thesis of your paper. A presentation of evidence and expert opinions and ideas that challenge or contradict the thesis of your paper. A presentation of the lens through which you have viewed your paper's central question. For example, you might be arguing that the nation should be moving toward using only electric cars for one of these abstract considerations: protecting the environment, reducing the cost of driving, achieving prestige for being cutting edge, encouraging practical applications of advances in technology, reducing environmental noise. In your lens section, you have to explain what that value is, show your reader that it is a worthwhile value, and show that it is relevant to your thesis. Then a synthesis section that reviews your support and challenging evidence in terms of your lens. And finally, a conclusion that focuses the reader on your thesis and its value. Probably you will want to repeat your lens somewhere. Ideally, the two-source paper included all these movements. The order for the 2 kinds of evidence and the lens paragraph is flexible. The other 4 paragraphs have to be in the order you see them. That's in this list. Now, it may be that you have never built a house or watched one being built, but try to imagine it. You decide you want a house. So first you try to picture the house you want: its style, its size, its setting or location, its purposes, its general appearance and impression. At this stage you might want to find an architect, but an architect can't help you if you haven't already thought about the things I just mentioned. The second step is to get the architect and a contractor, and maybe a lawyer, together to discuss your needs, your and their resources, and a plan to get the house built. They have some general considerations that will determine all the other decisions, such as climate, neighborhood, relevant legal criteria, budget, availability of materials, your time frame, their crew. After that, the house can be built, one system at a time. Foundation, frame, plumbing system, electrical system, insulation, exterior, and interior. You'll notice that each of these systems has its own requirements, its own materials, its own purposes, and that each system is completed in a different time frame, not all at once, not in random order, but relevant to the other systems. You, as the hopeful homeowner, will probably visit the site from time to time, and you will gradually see your house being built, but always within the framework and sitting on the foundation. The builders don't all start at once and grow the building inch by inch. Once the house is done, you come in, or your decorator does, with furniture, pictures, carpets, and paint, and make the inside look like the house you've envisioned. And then you'll probably invite family and friends to come see my house, walking through it room by room with you, and then expressing their general admiration, or in the case of your grumpy cousin, disapproval. Similarly to the house process, each of the sections or subtopics of your paper is an argument with the 7 movements, achieving the point that is its purpose. Think of the subtopics, intro, and conclusion parts as transitions into the next movement of your larger paper. Practically, that means you will be writing 4 two-source or however many sources papers to make up the background, evidence for, challenge evidence, and lens to your larger paper, and then adding an introduction, synthesis, and conclusion to create the journal paper. These won't be easy paragraphs to write, especially the synthesis, which has to pull your whole argument together. But considering that you've already done the main substance of the paper, you'll already know what you want to say and why you want to say it, and that's the main thing every paper writer has to know. This will be coming to you as an email also, so you can read and reread it as necessary. I hope the process and destination are clearer to you now, and you can build an argument that you can live in. End of lecture. Watch for your email.